North Ballers started in 2026, destroying the power at Marvel in round one. Let's get into it.
And Stevens lining up too. Let there be no mistake about that. Stevens went at him at 100 miles an hour. He got another go. And he grabs him. He's grabbed play on behind the man.
Oh, well, welcome back to the Further North podcast. I'm fired up and my voice is fried, but I don't care because we got the biggest win at Marvel Stadium today. We've just got home. Joel is here. Joel, oh man, I don't even know how to sum this up. I'm on cloud nine, and I think it's going to sink in during this podcast how happy I am. How are you feeling right now, man?
Mate, I think that's a justification for a good off season. There's no better way to start a season than a good win against what I would consider a strong rival now with all the Horn Francis stuff.
Of course.
I'm looking very much so forward to going in and talking about what a great performance it was all around compared to the last few years when we're often going in and trying to find positives. This one, they're everywhere. So really good thing to talk about today.
There's so much to talk about. So we usually try and keep the pod around an hour. I can't guarantee that's going to happen this time. This might go an hour. I don't know. But we're going to talk about everything. We're going to cover everything here. And I think we need to get straight into this. How were you feeling leading up to this game? I put out a little video saying how big this is for our football club. And I think we're, obviously with hindsight now, we know it was. And I think with how the fans are feeling. But how were you feeling going into this one, Joel?
Yesterday I went to the VFL game and I was chatting to this guy. He's got a rebounding is his Instagram for those who are interested. Does a lot of photos, but it was really good to chat. And I was just saying I'm so nervous for today to him. I said that yesterday, and when we saw each other today, I'm like, I'm nervous. Like, it's a winnable game. It's a lot of opportunity in a game like this. It's we just need to really make the most of it. And I'll tell you what, the team absolutely delivered that. Absolutely delivered on everything. We saw it come together. Like, it's been as you pointed out many a time, this off season has been really tough. Like, after the Melbourne one, everyone came after us, and the team has done the best thing you can possibly do, which is come out and put a performance on the park that is worthy of praise. And that's what we've done.
Absolutely. I mean, look, and I'm going to apologise about my voice now.
It's the water today for that.
We've got beverages next to us. It is what it is. But, hey, this is what we need to do as North fans because we're soaking this in. So North Melbourne has won 113 to 67, 46 points in the end, which I just couldn't imagine like a win that big. And for me, it felt nervy all the way through. That's the sort of fan I am. You've seen me a few times. You know what I do at games. Yeah. And, I was nervous up until the last 5 minutes of the game. You know what I mean? I couldn't let that out. But I'm so happy that we have been able to do that because there's nothing that the football world can say to discredit what we've done. We went out. We were the better team every single quarter. Our defense, and we're going to get into the defense soon because we're starting with the defense because that's the biggest talking point. The defense held up, the midfield got on top, and the forward line was so dangerous. Regardless of where you think Port is at, they're not one of those bottom dweller clubs, right? They're not an Eagles, they're not a Tigers, which we were beating last year. We've beaten a club with some great players, and we took them to the sword. We absolutely took them to the sword. So let's get into this, and I'm just going to start with the defense, and a couple of comments on the defense here, Joel, and then I'm going to let you go, is on this podcast over the last couple of weeks, I've been very optimistic about our defense. Let's just say that. After the Collingwood game, not everybody, look, I'm going to be paraphrasing here and I'm going to be putting a blanket over some things, and I'm not going to come here and say I told you so to anybody because I don't want to try and be like
I told you so, damn it.
That's right. But I saw something, okay? And I talked about that after the Collingwood win. I talked about that in the other pods. When I went on #Kangaroos, I talked about it. And so much of what I heard coming back to me was, I've seen no improvement in our defense. I've seen nothing. We're the same team. Our defense hasn't improved at all. Our defense is awful. And I'm not saying there isn't room to grow. But I saw something in that Collingwood game where we didn't get beaten on the back shoulder. We were able to scoop it up. We flooded the back line and we pushed it forward as a team. And even though it wasn't overly quick, we moved the ball cleanly through the middle of the ground, which generated a lot of scoring opportunities for us in that Collingwood game. If we kick straighter in that Collingwood game, we come out 5-6 goal winners and we're all happy. But we took the actual result of that Collingwood game too seriously, being closed and Collingwood not having much in, when we have to look at the performances. And that's what I saw. And that's what I've been talking about. And I've got so much backlash and negativity on that. And I'm so happy. And it's not here to say I told you so to anybody, but I'm so happy that they were able to put it together in a game and did exactly what I saw against Collingwood, where, you know, Georgiades had a few moments, of course, and a good forward like that's always going to have a few moments in a game. But we didn't get beaten one-on-one. Chom was everywhere in this game. You know, when the ball hit the ground, the pressure was there. We locked it in. We didn't let it get out on the opposition side, and we pushed the ball forward. We moved the football. Yes, it wasn't overly quick like we want in the end, but we moved it cleanly. So many players, which we'll talk about in the back line, went at such good disposal efficiencies. That's exactly what I wanted to see from this back line, Joel. And I'm so happy they did it, because I know I saw something and people were making me feel like I was crazy. People were making me think like I was seeing aliens or something. But I know what I saw, and that's why I backed it the whole time. And I'm so glad we've come on the other side. And all the people that doubted it, I know that they're happy today because they did see improvement. And hopefully this is a step. And we have to back it up next week, and we know that. But all we're going to talk about is what happened today, because we're all on cloud nine. So, Joel, there's my little speech. Go. What did you see from the defense?
Oh, completely agree with you. Like, you could see real structure, real intelligent defensive mechanisms. Like, one-on-one, there wasn't any egregious losses. I think everyone did exceptionally. But then the real impressive thing is the couple of times where they got that quick turnover, we flooded back and defended back so quickly, it was really hard for them to move the ball. Like, and when it got to those situations where it's like that contested play where the ball's sort of bobbling around and it's a really dangerous point where that's bobbling around in that forward line, a lot of time we found that ability to hit a kick and take a mark. And as soon as you take a mark, you just relieve that pressure. The ball's not live. You've got the ability to go back and make an informed decision. It wasn't often bombed out of that forward 50. There's obviously times where that's going to happen, but I think a lot of the time we managed to just find that right kick, get that right disposal, and really free up the game because of that. Just some great performances. I'm really looking forward to talking about some of these players that I think have done exceptionally. The two-way running was really exceptional. Yeah, I mean, like, this has been our best defensive effort in years. And last year I was critical every game. I'm like, we need to keep opposition below 100. This season, it looks like, to be honest, the league has probably opened up a lot more. But what we did defensively is such an important part of to why we won that game today.
I mean, look, I think Griffin Logue is a good place to start here because he had some bad turnovers in this game. But other than those turnovers, and it's not an excuse, you've got to fix those up, and I think he can. They were just silly turnovers. He can look at footage and be better for that next game. But let's start there. I think he did as good of a job as he could have done on Georgiades. I know Georgiades kicked 4 in the end.
I think it was 3, but yeah.
3 in the end, sorry. But he took intercept marks. He looks like the best one-on-one defender in that back line. He just did a job, and he did what he needed around the ground. He took some intercepts, and if he can clean up that kicking off the back line, because as we went later in the game, we definitely started kicking the ball down the line a lot more. But you could see first half, we were moving the ball side to side. We switched a lot. How many times last year did we sit there and I said, here's the slowest switch ever, and we're going to get stuck on the opposition flank and not go anywhere, and we didn't have that this time. Give me a little bit on Griffin Logue's performance, because it was shaky, as in like up and down moments. But then anything one-on-one, bringing the ball to ground and competing, I think he did really, really well. His kicking needs to be tuned up a bit, and I'm not excusing him for that. But I think he can be a massive part to play on those bigger forwards to help us with this defense, because he was a big part of it.
No, agreed. And I think, like, Georgiades, I think he played exceptionally well. Like, there was a couple of goals where the couple of goals that Georgiades got, there was one from a free kick, and there was, like, I think another one was just an absolutely stellar delivery, and I think that was just over time. The other one, I think Logue's come up to make a contest, stop someone else, had to stand on the mark, and the ball's gone over to where he was. So, like, Logue's one-on-one today was actually very good. I didn't really appreciate it. I mean, like, it's going to happen, but the fans occasionally, when he got the ball, started to, like, make a bit of Bronx cheering to an extent, as in terms of waiting for him to kick it, and with concern. He did make a couple of bad kicks, but it's with where he is on the ground, when your kicks are bad, it is magnified 1,000 times. And I think because of the role he played on Georgiades Chom was able to have the role of intercepting. So, like, it's not something to take away from. It's actually really valuable to note. He played a role. I think he did really well in that individual role, even though Georgiades kicked a few goals. So I was a big fan of his today, where he made some silly errors, but I thought he more than made up for it with the good things that he did today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what's he got for the game? Like 8 marks for the game, and I think he had a bunch of intercepts. Let me just double check here. Griffin Logue, 5 intercepts. Oh my God, Charlie Comben had 14. Okay, we're going to get on to Tom in a second. That's outrageous. But yeah, Griffin Logue, 5 intercepts as well, second most on the ground for us. So, I think he played his role. He'll be better for that. But I like what I'm seeing fundamentally. I guess it's the kicking that needs to be tightened up. But, even when he had those couple of turnovers in a row, he was still confident enough to keep trying that. And it worked a lot of the time because, look, we won by 50 points, right? So, we're doing something right down there. Charlie Comben, an absolute behemoth down there. I mean, 14 intercepts, 3 contested marks, 11 marks for the game, 18 touches, and kicked a goal. I mean, I was doubting him a little bit because I've seen him keep a lot of points.
I turned to you and I'm like, straight through the centre, Josh, and you're like, no.
To be fair, Joel, you did say that to Paul Curtis too a lot of the time, and he kicked a lot of points. So.
I said he needs to kick it. I didn't say he would.
Okay, I see what we're doing. He played that intercept role perfectly, Charlie Comben.
Yeah, he did.
His Collingwood game, he had shaky moments and people were nervous, but he was someone that I said, I back him to come good.
Same.
I don't think he's a player we have to worry about. He had a bad game. He'll watch it. He'll get better. And my word, was he better. I mean, so anything one-on-one, he'll at least bring it to ground now. Like, I don't have a problem with him at all one-on-one anymore, like a couple of years ago. He's big. He's confident. He's in the leadership group. I mean, 14 intercepts and 11
brilliant.
marks is outrageous, mate. Outrageous. He didn't really put a foot wrong for the whole day.
No, he was brilliant. Just some of the marks he took as well, really, really high quality, just fading across in front of those packs. Like, as I said, one thing that we'll talk about overall with our structure is that the ball was coming in a lot slower because of how well our pressure and, coming back into defense was. And when it's coming in high, Chom, I don't think I saw him drop a mark when he had the opportunity today. His ability to actually just get 2 hands on it and pluck it and keep it just completely removes any opportunity for heat for the opponent. And I thought he was exceptional today. When we get to eventually voting on who's the best on, Chom's just that performance was so stellar.
Yeah.
It was just, Port Adelaide had no answer to what was happening with him. They couldn't lower their eyes. Everything that they kicked up, they had to change what their plan was because of how effective he was.
And let's go Toby Pink. I was very scared when Toby Pink matched up on the Judas himself, Ice Bath King Jason Horne-Francis. I was nervous, not because I don't think Toby Pink can do it, just because I was worried at ground level Horne-Francis is going to have the agility and the quickness. I mean, he did absolutely nothing today, Jason Horne-Francis. It was one of the worst performances I've seen him have. 12 touches, kicked a point, and we all got our boos out. And I think I think we've released that negative energy now because
we needed that moment.
Yeah,
we needed that
blue
catharsis.
Ball on us for years, mate, and we finally got it out. And now we can all move on with our lives. But Horne-Francis was rubbish. Another member of the Pink Pony Club, I think, Jason Horne-Francis now in there with Tom Lynch. So Toby Pink, he played the most Toby Pink game ever, where I didn't see him that much, but that's because his opponent wasn't in the game at all. And fantastic job. I mean, the Power tried to put the Hornet back into the middle at the start of the third quarter because they needed something because we were cooking them out of the middle. And he was straight back down in that forward line. Couldn't do anything. Yes, playing a little bit injured, but if you're on the field, there's no excuse. If you're on that field, you're medically right to go. There's no excuse of that.
1,000%. You're on the field, you play.
Massive shout out to Toby Pink in that. Talk to me about the structure of the defense, Joel, because we were talking about this all game. Our ability to squeeze, not give up space, making the Power kick side to side and back and really slowing their ball movement up. What did you see from our defense that was so impressive to you?
Well, it was a team goal and initiative. A lot of times, and you're not going to notice it a lot yet again on the replay, you might see it a bit, Dersmo often was in that back area as well. He's not playing as a backman, but that desire and urge to get back into that space was really important. I mean, we're going to mention a couple of others soon, I reckon, as well. I'll mention names now and we'll talk about it, I reckon, which is Parker, absolutely stellar in the role he was in. He had this move over the past 2 weeks has really just changed the way that our defenses worked together and in a really positive manner. Tom Blameyer's first game in the league, looked like a veteran to me. Like his ability to hit targets 30, 40 meters up the field, that exactly what I was talking about, that pressure valve releasing. At one-on-one, like I didn't see him lose any real one-on-one contests there. Same thing with
touches
Parker
for the game as well.
Yeah, and like the releases were really, really good. And then obviously, I guess the other one that you mentioned there was Daniel probably in that role as well. And I think I'll let you talk about him I'll get you talking about him a fair whack in this as well. Like Daniel's disposal and efficiency around the field really hurt Port Adelaide. I think it's a real justification for sort of like him in that role with Kirch moving up, which is what I wanted. So a couple of good things. Do you want to touch on those guys as well, I reckon?
I mean, Parker's game, it was unbelievable. I mean, 24 touches, kicked a goal as well. His work rate, we pointed it out when we were sitting there, like saw him in the back line, and then at the end of a play, he got a mark in the forward line and kicked a goal from it. It was outstanding.
A timely goal at that point as well, I think it was.
24 touches and went 100% disposal efficiency on 24 touches in the back line is insane for Parker. Let me have a look at his intercept numbers as well. I feel like he had a few. Luke Parker, 4 intercepts as well, and 8 rebound 50s for Parker. It was an outstanding. It might be his best game for North because in a new role as well, just that Jack Siebel role that he played the last couple of years for North Melbourne. He took a couple of contested marks as well. He's strong. He's a good decision maker. He's marshalling that back line and helping those guys out. And I think he's a massive, massive reason as to why our back line was so solid. So a huge shout out to Parker. And look, I've been a massive Caleb Daniel defender on this podcast, and he's the name that I think 90% of the fan base wanted to go. I've consistently said, if you put a defense behind him that can hold up and you let him play his role, he will shine. He's a great ball user. Give him the space to operate. I've never, ever got upset at Caleb Daniel for not being good defensively. That's the same as asking Tristan Jerry to run as fast as Colby McKercher. It's never been what they do. That's not their game. There was so many games last year where Daniel was running off halfback. That Richmond game is the one that springs to mind because our defense was holding up that game. The Tigers couldn't get the ball in quickly, and his freedom to run across that halfback line and move us forward was fantastic. And that's what I love from him. This was a fantastic Caleb Daniel game. There's not a single person out there who can say anything negative about him today. If our defense can play like that consistently, he's going to have a fantastic year. Fantastic job, Caleb Daniel, because the amount of hate he gets is absolutely unwarranted. I've defended him for 12 months, and I will continue to because I've seen that from him last year in patches, and it needed to be more. Don't get me wrong. I understand sometimes his kicking wasn't good enough, but God, we've slaughtered him and he didn't deserve it. And that is a fantastic Caleb Daniel game. Even though he's so small and when he got caught, he'll always follow up and try. And that's the most important thing. There's other players which are a little bit lazier. He got caught, being the guy has to try and spoil someone, but at least he gives it a go. It's not his fault of his size, and he has other qualities to push up the ground. But
I don't think his defensive work, I don't think his defensive work is bad. It's just it's limited
because of his size, but that's not
because of his
fault.
size. But it's not his fault.
So much more.
But he offers a lot, as you said, yeah, exactly. And the other player, I guess, obviously, I mean, Blameyers was fantastic, but Almac, I think Almac, great return here, which brings in the obvious question I think I was talking about as well, is Hardiman's going to come back in next week. This is it's a great problem to have. Yeah. I like this problem. The problem is that we've got, too good a performance, and who do you replace? It's fantastic, problem to have.
No, I completely agree. Luke McDonald, 20 touches, 90% disposal efficiency for Luke McDonald, with 9 marks in there as well. It was just such a good game for him. I'm just going to look through and see if he's got any other stats to point out here quickly. A couple of intercept possessions, but his ability to know where the man is going to be, and one-on-one he just doesn't get beaten overly often. He was fantastic. He's our best now. Archer's not playing for the season. He's our best lockdown option. Last year we all saw it up until he hurt himself halfway through the year. He was really good last year. Absolutely really good. Another player that the internet seems to want to banish forever, but you just can't get rid of these guys because he was really, really solid in that.
And he went to Hornet a couple of times as well in quite a few of those different plays when Port tried to go a little bit tall and stretch us with Jack Whitlock and Ollie Lord and obviously Georgiades playing, then he would go to that to the Horn Francis matchup. And Horn Francis was so well held and so well played today. It's there's some real positives to take away from today in that defensive group.
Yeah, I mean that's the best I've seen our defense play for
Agreed.
years and years and years, mate. And we did it all game too. It wasn't patches or anything like that. We did that all game, and it gave me a lot of confidence that we're going to go and play the Eagles next week and do really well. It's how confident we looked with the ball. I even started to believe, even in the second quarter, we can get the ball out of our back line. We can move the football. We're going to go into the midfield in a second. There's a lot of midfielders to talk about in this defensive performance as well, because the work rate from the team, Larky was cramping, LDU was cramping at the end of the game, just because of the work rate that these guys were putting in for the whole game. And it's a massive, massive shout out. Another thing I talked about, the Collingwood game, was our whole team pushing back and squeezing that defense. They weren't it was very, very rare they were finding pockets of space to put the ball into and someone led. Yes, there was a couple of lace-out kicks that you couldn't stop. Logue had one where he jumped at the perfect time and he tried his best, but the kick is absolutely centimetre perfect. You can't do anything about those. But we just didn't give them space. They had to shift it sideways. They looked. It was slow. You could tell their fans were getting frustrated, and they kicked it to the side, kicked it back. And we just never see that. We've always been, people have been pounding down the door until it breaks with us, and we just didn't let that happen today. Let's go on to the midfield quickly here as well. Who were some of the defensive guys through the midfield that you think did really, really well? I mean, please save the floor for Dill Stevens for me, because I'm the leader of the Dill Stevens fan club. So pick anyone else but him, because I'm going to go on a big, big Dill Stevens appreciation session in a second.
The one that actually, it's funny because I heard the interview after the game with Clarko now, and Foss, the role he actually was playing was as a stopper, or not run with or stopper, but like he was playing opposite Butters and he was trying to limit his influence. Finn O'Sullivan, I think he only had the ball 15 times. When he has the ball,
class
is absolute class. I mentioned this 1,000 times and I'm going to keep mentioning it. The goal that Colby got, where he's gone to hand pass it right-handed, seen that there's no option there, heard the voice, changed hands and hand passed it left-handed to hit Colby running into the goal, was absolute class and absolute elite play. Like by the counterpoint, we had a game last year where LDU had to try to hand pass it right-handed on the outside and it got turned over and they, ran him over coals for that. Finn O'Sullivan in that exact, that same moment was able to create class that creates a goal. It's just, I'm really high on Foss as a player. And hearing that he had the role with Butters, and Butters was really, he had a game that was good, but not up to his standard.
He didn't break the game open at all.
No, he didn't. And Finn O'Sullivan was just absolutely, I really love this kid as a player. I think he's just, he's got potential to be the best player on our list. He is just he does everything well, so mature for someone his age. So I'll praise him. I'll leave you to your Dill appreciation post here.
Well,
and I will agree with everything you say immediately on this one, because we had a chat about this.
Dill Stevens might be the best footballer I've ever seen.
Well, maybe take that one back. Okay, everything after this.
Okay. No, but he was arguably best on ground for me. Yeah. He was absolutely unbelievable all day. His work rate to get back and get the ball off the back line and move that thing forward. I always said about him 2 years ago, his problem isn't kicking and disposal and decision-making. His problem is our only way off half-back is bombing the ball over his head to half-forward. Jaden Stevenson one-on-one sort of stuff, and then it gets turned over. If we can play a brand of football that gets him in the game, this guy's a top 5 pick, I think he was. So, he's got so much talent and potential there. Is he going to be one of the best players in the game and be that top whatever pick he was? Probably not, but God, he can be a really good player for this team. He's held his spot. There was no question about dropping him last year. He was so, so good. Just going to read out some of his numbers today because he needs to be praised. Where is he here? I should have had this up in front of me, mate. I've been talking about it so much. His goal on the left-hand side as well. 29 touches, 20 kicks, 11 handballs. It kicked 1 goal, 1 as well. So he's getting the ball forward as well after picking it off the back line. My favourite stat of Dylan Stephens in this game is there's 2 players for us that had 11 marks. One was Charlie Comben and one was Dylan Stephens. And he was just finding the football everywhere, finding space, being that pressure reliever around half back. He's the first kick out, target out of the back line to get the ball in his hands. That's why Parker's down there, to get him the football, to get Daniel the football. And then they pushed us forward. And we always knew he could run all day, but his play along that left wing, just to run from half back into the forward line and deliver it cleanly, it might have been the best game I've seen him play for. It probably is the best game he's played for North Melbourne. And that goal on the run was just so at a time when we needed smooth. It. Mate, I lost my head in the bay. It was Bay 29 was pumping, by the way. It was so much fun. Packed bay, kangas flying all over the place. But yeah, I just a moment of silence for Dylan Stephens, everyone out there, because
brilliant.
What a player. And I understand we have our favourites and we have players in our minds that we've written off, even though we probably shouldn't. He's one, if he's on that list for you, time to take him off, because he's been really good last year and that game was absolutely outstanding. I'm not expecting that every week from him, but man, that was an unbelievable performance.
Well, it forces people to defend him differently, and his tackling pressure as well was elite. His coverage of the field was really, really, really elite. So yeah, I mean, I won't go any more into it.
536 metres gained as well, most on the entire ground, by the way. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. No, that's right.
Second most, I think, was Tom Powell, was it, at one stage?
And most score involvements on the ground too. 9 score involvements for Dylan Stephens, most in the entire ground, most metres gained on the entire ground.
Yeah.
He was best on the ground, mate. He was just best on.
What did we think of Jai on the other wing? I thought he played the role well without being a standout today, but didn't do anything wrong for me.
No. I mean, 17 touches, 1 goal. Yeah. Got around the football. Yeah, it was a good game by Jai. He just fit in and played his role. I mean, this is what some players have to do. We've said this with Powell and other players like that as well, where when LDU, Shees, Foss are on, those guys have to be role players and support those guys and move the team forward and be links in the chain. And if you can notice that someone is on fire and we're clicking, just be the role player, be the Scotty DeJordan. You know what I mean? Be that guy who backs somebody up and can get these hot guys the football. So I think Jai played his role. No real complaints. Agreed. I think his first pass to Curtis of the game was a really, really nice kick. He got the ball out wide and he kicked the ball it was just so perfect onto Curtis's chest. So I think he was fine. I've got absolutely no problem with Jai. I mean, he'll have his better games. He'll have his games like today, which was still good, but didn't break the game open at all. But not everyone's getting 35 touches.
Oh, yeah. And then I guess we'll go into obviously, I think Powell I didn't notice him hugely, but I thought he was good with what he did. Yep. I didn't hugely notice him, but I think that's not a bad thing. I'm assuming he got 20 something disposals and
20 touches. Yep.
Yeah. Pretty much what I expect. And then Shees and LDU, I think is really worth going into as a group.
Well, really quickly, let's talk about the midfield group mix at stoppage quickly, because then we'll go into these guys. As a unit, we absolutely dominated the stoppages. I'll just try and get the numbers here. 40 clearances to 29, but we got smashed in the hit-outs. So 37 hit-outs for Port to 21. But I'm getting the gut feeling this year hit-outs are really going to not be important, because our entire midfield group sharked off the Port ruckman so well, all locked the ball up. And this is one thing I was talking about, right? Because throwing Cooper in the ruck, maybe for every centre bounce, I talked about that. It makes sense on paper, probably not what's going to happen. But then the other thing we were talking about on the last podcast was maybe everyone in our midfield 3, if we don't get that, you got to sort of have an eye. Everyone's got to have an eye on defense and lock that ball up, because that puts Jerry back in the game with his, not when he doesn't have to jump and actually gets to wrestle for that one-on-one ability. What did you see from us as a midfield unit? Anything else to add on top of that?
Well, I don't think they often got clean centre breaks, which was a bit of a concern from the early
12 centre clearances quickly, yeah.
But I don't think when they got
17 around the ground.
Yeah. But when the ball was when they got their centre clearances, I don't think they had those clean ones. That end of that second quarter, the speed that the ball was coming out and where it was hitting was so dangerous. We looked so dangerous if we got the ball out of the centre clearance, it wasn't a long bomb in anymore. A couple of times it was that overlap, and then forcing someone to make a decision. We did that exceptionally well today. That's something you would really want to replicate. We did that last year, to be fair, at stages, but not to this degree and not against opponents like that. So like I think the group worked really well. I think Cherry was beaten in the rucking part of the game, but Cherry was our leading tackler today. Cherry was, a cog around the field that actually played a role. I think it was not the game that he had last year, but it was a very valuable game for him still. Like, he was a long option to kick it out to, and he played that well. And his tackling caused a couple of people to be a bit worried about where he was, which is what you want.
10 tackles for the game for Tristan as well. And I think he had the most contested possessions, 16 on the entire ground as well. So, we were never doubting his ability around the ground. When the ball is around the ground, to be that fourth midfielder, it's the jumping thing. But if we have found, and it looks like we may have, if we've found a way to counteract that a little bit, he's still going to be just as effective. I mean, you spoke on that.
Yeah.
And before we go into individuals in that centre bounce a bit more, I mean, at the end of that second quarter, I mean, Chom kicked that goal from outside 50. Then Colby went bang, and Dersma from the pocket with that little banana from the pocket as well. But that was all the midfield breaking away. And we just look so switched on. Like when LDU, I said to you just before those 3 goals in the Bay, LDU needs to get into the game more here. And he turned it on for the last 5 to 7 minutes of that quarter. And that's when we went bang, bang, bang. And we kicked goals. Another point I'll make on the defense quickly, and it goes along with what we're talking about, we did not give up any red time goals.
Yes.
None for the whole game. And that's another thing against Collingwood that I brought up. We didn't give any red time goals up, and we made chances of our own. And that was exactly what we did in this game as well. And that's another reason why we have to look at those performances more objectively and be like, okay, I saw what we were trying to do. I loved what we did in that, because that broke the game open just before halftime. It was really, really close until then. Bang, 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 straight out of the middle, 3 goals. I just am so pleased that this stuff against the Pies has been replicated in an actual game, because I knew I saw something, Joe. I thought, am I crazy? Am I crazy? And maybe not after. I'm a bit crazy, to be fair, but maybe not after all. But, creating chances of our own late in quarters is such a massive weapon to keep us in games or extend leads. And if we went into halftime with the lead only being, a goal or so, it would have a couple of goals. It probably changes the complexion of the rest of the game.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. I think particularly the quality. I said the quality is a really big thing for me. I think at the start of the game, I turned around and we were trying to figure out who the centre 3 were at the first bounce. And I think in the end, it was Foss, LDU and Shees. And we went with that for a lot of it. I'd be curious to see the CBAs, but I think that's probably what we went with for a majority. And, LDU, I think, had a slightly muted game on usual, but when he got the ball and he was the one who tore open that game. He tore the game open. He had that patch where he just absolutely everything was going through him. He was running out. He was stepping around and he looked so good moving the ball. He had a good game, but he's got levels to go to and he's got higher levels, and you can see that when he breaks games open. And then Sheasel just yet again, like clockwork, 30 disposals, good running around the field. There was one play I think I pointed out to you, he's run across from one side on the switch, run all the way to the other side of the ground just to take a mark to set up the next play. Late in the game
too, which when we were trying to slow down the game as well, it's a fantastic effort.
Oh, extremely good effort. You can start to see the talent that's coming through, and you're starting to see some reward for effort here. What did you think of your boy Kirch for the game? An interesting game for him, I think. Very limited times.
Yeah, look, he hasn't played any preseason games really, so but you can still see he's run through. He had a couple of runs through the middle, which broke the game open. He's beating people with speed. He's hitting his kicks. I mean, I think he only had 11 touches for the game. Yeah, 11 touches, kicked a goal, went at 90%. Disposals, but got some centre bounces, which I absolutely love, because I think he needs to be in there more. I mean, give him a couple of games and he's going to be back to his electrifying best, but a little bit of a quieter game for him. But for a guy who hasn't played any of the preseason, he didn't play in the D's game, did he? I don't think he did.
No, he didn't.
No. So a guy who hasn't played any preseason games coming back, and yes, not racking up disposals, but when he had the ball, he made something happen and he broke the game open. We know what he can do. Once he gets those minutes in the legs over the next 2 or 3 games, I've got no question he's going to be an absolute superstar for us.
Yeah. Like you could see the flashes. I think he did play the Melbourne game, not the next one.
Okay.
But like when you saw those moments with him where he was able to, like there was one where he did a nice run through the field and hit up. And then there was another one where he did, when he kicked the goal and he almost had an opportunity, he had another goal not too long after that. He was like, you can see the class with him and the fact that he's got, he's going to have more time at another level to get to. And I prefer the role he's playing now than him coming off halfback. Halfback, he's going to get a lot of disposals, but he looked so damaging going forward and like scary for the opposition when he was moving forward, I reckon, on limited minutes. Next game, he'll get more and you'll see that hopefully more.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, you add Wardlaw to this mix as well. And geez, the midfield is because
scary.
I was talking about Foss potentially playing on Jason Horne-Francis last podcast, mainly because I think his defensive ability is good, is physical, and he can match up one-on-one with strength and pace. Obviously, Horne-Francis playing like absolute garbage helped that out a little bit. But I love that he can be like, it's so interesting how he got drafted, right? There was Taron Thomas comparisons a little bit, I think, of that type of player, that like half forward / midfielder that can break a game open, be a goal kicker. I think he's turning into something different, mate. I think he's turning into a big-bodied, just midfield beast. He can do the defensive stuff. He can go forward. He's going to be even better than what we thought. And just we pointed out when we saw him last year for the first time in person, geez, he's big. He's big and he's strong. And he's going to develop into something a little bit different than what we thought we were drafting. But that difference is even better, I think, to what we thought we might be getting.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I can see a bit of a Heaney in him. He's very strong overhead.
Good comparison.
Very strong overhead. He's got a good booming kick. I think he could potentially change that. I think that's probably where I think he might, he could land, but he's so dynamic and so like, he's one of those players where the game just slows down around him a little bit. He just makes the right choices. He's, he talks a bit slow, but his footy brain is the fastest there is. Like he processes, he makes right decisions. He plays like a veteran already. And he's, just starting his second year of footy. Like what he's doing is, I think it's underrated how good he's been in this role.
We need to talk about Blamires because we sort of missed him off the half-back line, but, he went through the midfield a lot. So let's lump him in here quickly. Apologies for missing out on him. So, I mean, 23 touches for his first game, and he was really, really clean with the ball. I was a little bit nervous, just SSP signing, played a good game in the preseason, but that was one good game. Can he come in and replicate that at AFL level? And the answer was yes, mate. I mean, he was strong. He didn't get bullied out of contests. When he got the ball, he was decisive as well and looked to run. I mean, him and Riley Hardiman sort of off half back, with a Daniel and a user like that, that's a good combination down there. And that can unleash Kirch to go through the middle a little bit more and be pushing into the forward 50 because Kirch came off the half forward line a little bit in this game as well. Just speak on Blamires a little bit because, I'm just going to look up his numbers here. 23 touches, 69% disposal efficiency, off half back. Let's see. I think he had a few rebound 50s as well here. So 3 rebound 50s. So look, I don't think he was like absolutely outstanding, but considering he was a SSP player and it was his first game of AFL football, really coming from Frankston straight into an AFL game, gee, you couldn't have asked for much more from him, could you?
I don't think he made a lot of, it says 69. I'm a bit surprised by that. I'd be curious to have to watch back, but I think he made a lot of really good decisions. He was really in the right spot a lot. He was often the other wing, I think, as in the other halfback when they've done the switch, it results in him. His running around the field was actually really high level. He was always getting to the next contest. I was really, really happy with his output. I mean, he's probably the biggest risk for Hardiman coming back in for. But, I don't think he did a lot wrong. And if he got dropped, he'd be exceptionally unlucky to be dropped is my thought pattern. But I thought he was fantastic. And as you said, SSP, I think he's, it's been one of our better debuts that I've seen. And we've had some very, very good debuts of late. So I'll give him full credit. I thought he was really, really, I don't think he did anything really wrong that I, picked up with on my eyes at least.
No, I like what I saw. He looked like he fit. And I think that's the most important thing for an SSP signing, a guy who hasn't come through the draft and been one of those highly talented guys. Geelong do this for fun, right? They find players like this, bring them in, and they work. And if
shout out to the recruiters again.
Well, another. We're going to get onto more guys that we've recruited through mid-seasons and things like that when we get to the forward line. But I posted a video of the reaction after the game, and my apologies, I can't remember exactly who commented. I can try and find it now quickly, but there was someone shouting out our recruiters, and I think that's such an important thing, because once again, I know that I come across the last year or so as overly positive, but it's because I've liked what I've been seeing. And yes, the winning hasn't been enough, and I've been frustrated and as pissed off as everybody else listening to this podcast. But it doesn't mean there's not underlying things improving. And we've talked up Brady Rawlings a little bit on here. He gets absolutely crapped on by everybody. But when you're picking up a Bill Myers, a Trembath, and even nailing your top picks like a Doverston, like a Foss, we all got upset not because of Foss as a player, but we wanted with different players, right? We didn't want more mids, and now we love the guy. And geez, we've been good at recruiting since Clarkson's been at this club. And I just think we have to give him massive, massive credit. I mean, just speak on that a little bit before we go to the forward line. I'm going to try and find this comment by the user, because I want to give him a shout out.
Fair. I mean, you can look at the last couple, particularly Blameyer's great pick, obviously coming straight into our side and becoming an effective player. You look at the mid-season last year, one of the things that doesn't go as noted, but I did mention it probably in the draft, was Pickett, Latrell Pickett. We were trying to get him eligible to be the mid-season pick, which, it's a really early acquisition of talent and a good eye for it. The players that we did take there, Banch was best on in the VFL. I was down there. Banch was incredible. I think, he's knocking down the door, but, we'll go to the forward soon. But then the other one being Trembath now, we'll talk about him in the forwards, and, like clockwork, it's always another 3 goals for Trembath, and, we continue on with a, dear friend of the program.
I love Cooper. I mean, even when we did the live show, I just didn't notice how huge he was. He was wearing the baggy shirt, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, Coop looks all right. And when he put the jersey on, mate, he looks like Donkey Kong, mate. Like this huge guy, massive chest, and just a physical presence. I love Cooper Trembath, mate.
And his leap
he's
is
always
so
further
great.
north zone, Cooper Trembath. Yeah. Don't forget that.
And his leap at the ball is incredible. Did you want to say the comment, or did you want to start forwarding?
I can't find the comment. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I did read the comment, and there was so much stuff. Hang on. Here we go. Jonty_Meyer, if you're listening, shout out to you, my friend. He says, got to start giving credit to our recruiters. Parker, Stevens, Myers, Trembath as well. Yep, Parker, Stevens
Darling.
As well. Darling. I mean, we're going to talk about Darling in a second too. He's a very elite back shoulder player, Joel, as you pointed out many times. So shout out to Jonty for that comment as well, because I read it and I was like, you know what, 100%. And that's something we've been saying here on the pod as well for a while is, yes, in the past, pre-Clarkson, we've got some wrong, right? We've got some wrong, but you got to praise when he gets it right and not just tarnish him when he gets it wrong. You know what I mean? And that's a natural response for fans, is to hype the negative up a bit and suppress the positive a bit because we're nervous or we haven't been good. And I completely understand that. But, you see Cooper Trembath and Tom Myers being really, really good, and no one goes, Brady found him. But you see one player we draft, like Will Phillips, doesn't work out, and you go, God, Brady sucks. We've just got to be a little bit more level-headed than that, because he's done a very, very good job, especially the last 2 years, in getting some of these guys. Even the trade, which we all, except, of course I defended at the time, but, the trading our first-round pick, and, a couple of years later or 12 months later, we've ended up with a key defender in Threadgold, a key forward in Whitlock who's kicking goals for fun, and Lockie Doverston, and they're all positions we desperately need. So you got to give them a little bit of credit
when it's due.
Let's go to the forward line, Joel. Who sticks out for you, and who do you want to chat about first?
I mean, it was a great all-round performance, to be honest. I think they could have put more on the board at stages, but a lot of goals, a lot of marks inside 50. I think the obvious one to talk to, let's talk about our captain, Nick Larkey. 4 goals it was in the end, wasn't it?
Yep.
And, a lot of pressure to come in and be there. I don't think he won a lot around the ground necessarily, but 4 goals is an amazing return for a key forward these days. It's not small.
Goals.
Yep. I think he played his role exceptionally, was very dangerous, was very, he put scores on the board, and particularly when we needed in those big moments. There was a couple of nervy moments when we were missing a few that Josh was a bit right. I'm like, nope,
I was very worried.
You were very nervous with it. I'm like, it's Larky. He'll put this in. And every time, to his credit, straight through the centre with Larky on those ones. He's one that I trust with the ball in the hand of in those moments. And he was getting the ball in dangerous positions and he was making the most of it. So full credit there. Then I guess we'll talk about the friend of the program again in Cooper Trembath. Like, yet again, 3 goals. Aerial, got it in the air. He got it on the ground.
Took a great
earned free
contested mark
kicks
in the third quarter, I think it was as well.
Yeah, very dangerous player. Just so good. Did you want to touch on him as well? I know you do.
I mean, of course I would love to. A mid-season draft pick, mate, coming in, kicking 3 goals every single game, 9 goals in 3 games, and we're going, wow, that's incredible. The biggest challenge for him is coming back after giving us that glimpse, getting bigger, getting stronger, and being able to replicate that in bigger, more important games. And he was such a threat all day. He did chop out in the ruck. There's a little bit of Darling in the ruck at the start, but they seemed to move away from that and get Cooper into the ruck very, very quickly. Sort of more second half. I don't think, I don't think Darling went in the ruck at all in the second half. I think it was all just Cooper. So his leaping ability is the perfect foil of what Larky offers as well. And this is why I don't mind the Doveston-Constanti combination down there. And it's the same with Cooper and Nick Larky as well. Like, they're very different types of players, but it makes our forward line dynamic, which freed up other players, which we'll get onto in a sec. But 3 goals again, mate. Like, he just can't not kick 3. And he could have had more. He passed one off to the pocket. I can't remember exactly who that was for.
I think that was to Bull.
Was it? Yes. That was the snap, and I don't think he got that one. He
got out in the full.
Out in the full, yeah. But he's just a presence, mate, and having him up there. Clarkson's justification as well, and another thing which, because we're impatient and because we're upset, and North has been so bad for so long, and everyone's opinion on this is justified. Going at the club, Clarkson, and he's not playing Trembath this. And then Clarkson came out through the week and just explained, I think he said he was sick, but we all just go too soon. We got to back more of these people, and you got to back Clarkson in, He's only coached a couple of seasons, taken over one of the worst lists of the modern era. We had, like I've said the last few pods, we have to accept how bad we were and realize how long it's going to take. And, all the moves that Clarkson did, Parker in the back line and the recruitment and getting Foss in, and now he's playing that defensive role, which he designed. He's the coach. We've got to give him some credit. And, that goes into the forward line as well with finding these guys and just making game plan that I think is really, really sustainable. And that's what it felt like today, sustainable. Our forward line as a whole was really, really dangerous. Let's go on to Zerha. I mean, it's an almost game, but it's also a really, really good game because he converted well and was dangerous all day. And that's what a Trembath is going to do with a Larky up there. It's going to free him up. I like having our bigger forward line. I don't think we always need to have a couple of smalls down there. I don't mind having Darling, Larky, Trembath, Curtis, Zerha, and then a Doveston down there. That's our best 6 going forward. Absolutely. So, I think we found the balance really well on the forward line. I mean, 113 points, I think it was.
Yeah, in the end, I think it was.
In the end, 17 goals, 11. I mean, look at all the scoring opportunities we created against the Pies. If we converted, we kick a massive score that day, mate.
Absolutely.
In awful conditions, we kick a massive, massive score. So it looks like our forward line balance is better. Speak about Paul Curtis. You were backing him in every single set shot saying, nah, he's got it, guys. And I said, settle down, Joel, settle down. And he kicked a lot of points, even though he had a couple of moments of magic like he always does. And look, he's coming back strong. I've got no doubt Paul Curtis can have an unbelievable year. Talk to me about your boy.
Yeah. For the record, I did say he would kick a point on that one. But that being said, let's go into some. He was
that's not going to hold up in a court of law, mate.
Yeah. Him and Bull together actually they could have had more between them. Bull, I was really disappointed Bull missed the 2 shots on goal that he had from probably 40 metres out directly in front. He's very gettable and he's a better player than that. Curtis, similar, had shots that he really should be nailing, and he missed a couple. The goal he did get, I think he ended up with 1 goal for the game, but the one he did get was
the one in traffic, kicks the hard one.
Extremely timely, extremely difficult. He's run around 3 people and then got the set shot, got the, around the body and kicked it. That was an absolutely classic Curtis goal.
I'm just going to try and find quickly. When was that goal in the
That
game?
was fourth quarter. It was like during I think it was fourth, and I think it was the one that put
came
us
out and
the
kicked
4 or
the
5
first
goals.
couple, and that was the answer to those two. I was getting very, very nervous when Port.
You were getting very nervous. You were next to me, you were sweating bullets.
And rightly so, because I've seen some things, Joel.
We've seen some things. We've seen a lot of things. But no,
goal
those
of
two
that
together.
Quarter, that was the answer to the two goals that Port kicked, just to swing the momentum back on our side, and created something out of nothing. There was 3 players around, and he just danced through and scored. I mean, look, the score review was not our friend in
today.
this game as well. Like two in a row, I think got called off. And
not only that, it got back to the center of the field, and then they're about to throw it up, and then it's like,
so
oh no,
long, mate. Like, I don't know. And one of them, the umpire was about a meter away from the ball, and it grazed the post, and they're confused. I mean, why even have goal umpires at this point?
At this point, you don't need it.
That's another conversation.
A different kettle of fish for that one. But no, I think like those two were, I think, exceptional together. Touching on, I guess, the small forwards now, you would go JK, Dove, and probably we can mention Durs in this space as well, I reckon. Not that he's a small forward. JK, without being stellar, I think he did some really nice things throughout the game. Some really timely tackles, some really good pressure. Doveston was extremely well held for 3 quarters. Last quarter, he started to really get his hands on it, and you could start to see what he's capable of. He was able a couple of times just to do little dinky kicks and create space, and you could see him, he worked his way into the game, which is nice to see a player be able to do that. So he'll be better for the whole run, and I think, he created a goal or two and made some right decisions in that last quarter when it was hot and needed to be made. So I was really happy with, like, it's not the, flashy first game, but I was happy with his return. Dersma, I think his work rate today was much better than we've ever seen. He was getting to deep in defense. He kicked a really nice goal as well outside of the right during that passage of play where we were getting a few in a row. And I think I would love him to touch it 15 times a game, because when he touches it, things happen. He creates space. He creates the right thing. But his tackling, I think, was pretty good today. I think he was in the right position a lot. There's not a lot of negative to talk about with him. And I guess the one that we didn't mention that we should probably mention is good old Jack Darling.
Yes, I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, he was I was back shoulder. Every time the ball was coming down, I'm like, and I've turned to Josh as the ball's in the air. I'm like, back shoulder, Darling, he's got it. And you just see him, he just holds the guy, creates the space, ball falls straight into his hands. It didn't matter who was on him. He would always create that every time. He's an elite player.
Even a moment on the wing where there was a loose ball towards the boundary line. It was Darling and Dersma running out to the boundary line. And Dersma's work right there, probably not the best, but I think I'm assuming he was sort of waiting for Darling to make something happen, even though I want him to go in that situation. But Darling just did the smart thing where he made sure that ball went out of bounds because he understood the situation. And this is why you recruit players like this. This is why you recruit a Darling, a Parker, a Daniel. This is why, a lot of people are always talking about, I don't understand why we're playing a 34-year-old, just play the kids. No, because
that's why
the kids learn. I have no doubt in my mind that Cooper Trembath is the player he's looking like he's going to be because he trains with Jack Darling every day. I don't think it's a coincidence at all that Jack Darling is in our forward line for the second season now. And last season, our forward line looked pretty good. We started to lead better. We started to move better. We were dangerous when we got it forward. It was getting it forward that was the hard thing for us. So every single time he's in a marking contest, mate, I think he's a chance. And not because he's going to jump, but he just protects the space of the ball so well. He's so
smart footballer.
Hands. And when he played further up the ground today as well. He wasn't very deep in that forward line. He was playing around half forward, pushing up the ground, being an option as an outlet kick. And even when he's got the ball outside the 50, I think he's going to make the right decision. He's a good user of the football as well. And I think another fantastic piece of business getting Jack Darling into this football club because he's not slowing down. He's got the year to play. And if he keeps having games like that, not that he tore the place apart, but really solid games where he shows his leadership, his smarts, and wins contests for us, he's going to play every game, mate, to be honest. And he's a fit guy. People think he's like 39 years old. He's not. He's got a massive role to play this year alongside Larky and Tremba.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think the other thing that I think I should mention as well was about the forward craft. I thought there was some really good moments of forward craft. The one that I specifically remember, I think I turned to you at the time, is I forgot who it was that led up, but Sheasel put the body on the guy, or Darling, I forgot who it was, put the body on the guy, which you see the player run, get the open mark, and you say, oh, he's let up well. It's like, no, there was some forward. The craft all happened before the ball got to him. It was the block sort of look one where they're able to stop that guy from or able to release the forward so that he can have a clean run at it. And that happened a few more times tonight than you sort of would notice. And it's worth watching when they're leading up in the play, but it's a really great response, really great return. I think this is just such a great start to the season. Let's see if we can continue with what we've done for West Coast next week.
Well, yeah.
That's the standard now.
That's the standard. That's the minimum what we need. If they bring that every week, we're going to have a very, very exciting season. 17 goals from 51 inside 50s, 33% goal efficiency, which is the highest I've seen for North Melbourne for a long, long time. We're usually under 20%. The power, 9 goals from 47 entries. We had 17 from 51. So we were lowering our eyes. I think we sent the ball long when we needed to, but I think we really were just pulling the kicks a little bit. We weren't kicking it to someone's chest per se, but we'd put it in positions where someone could run into the space and mark the ball. And, a Trembath, a Zerha, a Curtis one-on-one, I'm backing them. Even a Dali, I'm backing them one-on-one, mate. And it's knowing your players' strengths and playing to their strengths. And that's something we haven't had in the forward line. That's something we didn't see against the Pies. I pointed out on that pod reviewing that game that we were just bombing that in. I was really disappointed with the same old forward 50 entry. So I was really, really excited for that efficiency. 51 inside 50s for the game, which was fantastic. And 13 marks inside 50 as well, which I think that feels like the highest we've seen for a long, long time, mate. So we've got we hit the post 3 times in this game too. So, it could have been more. Just looking at around the ground, we had 5 bounces to 1. So you can just see we had more time with the ball. Like our pressure was absolutely.
We got it on the outside very well.
Yeah, absolutely. 58 tackles when we had a lot of the ball, to be honest. Is a fantastic effort. It was pressure all day. It was creating stoppage. It was winning ball from stoppage. Another thing when we had Chief on, people loved when he ripped into me about not seeing anything. And I said, well, our game plan to me is winning the ball from stoppage and pushing us forward and getting it to our players who are dangerous. And look, nothing he said was wrong. I love you, Chief, if you're out there. Wow. But the comments loved that because he went back at me not agreeing with that. But that was exactly what our game plan was today. We won the ball from stoppage in the middle and around the ground, and we got that ball forward quick, and our forwards are dangerous, and all we needed was setting up behind the football, which we've learned how to do.
Much better.
It was so consistent all game, mate. I'm confident we can replicate that. It wasn't just like a one-off performance. Remember last year we had that little patch where we were really good for 6 weeks? None of us were like, this is us now. You know what I mean? No. But that was such a solid performance. When Port did or sort of come back, we got the ascendancy, then they came back and they made another little run. I think 3 of the 4 quarters, they kicked the first goals in the quarters, and we didn't waver and we didn't get shaky and we didn't get nervous and let them. We always answered. We defended well. We slowed their ball movement. I'm so happy with the performance. We honestly, as fans, we just couldn't have asked for any more than what we got at the ground today. I don't even think it's sunk into me yet. I'm talking about it now and I'm so happy, but I'm so excited. We got home and we're gonna watch the game back.
It's getting dark.
Very, very soon. Yeah. We're gonna watch the game back after this. Yeah. We haven't got to watch it back yet. We've sort of got home and I was so excited to record. I just wanted to do that, but you can go on your little rant here, Joel, because I'm just yabbering at this point, but I'm so proud of the team, man. There's the footage of Clarkson. Look, was he actually crying? Probably not, right? It's probably just a bit of water in the eye, you know what I mean? But I felt a little bit of that emotion when we did get over the line and we've done it. And it's such a massive, massive, massive statement for our football club to say we're improving.
I'm just proud of where we were as a club today. Like, everyone was coming for us. Everyone was talking about, the pressure on Clarko. North needs to shut up and deliver. North needs yada, yada. And they're all talking about what we need and what we should be doing and that. And to the clubs, even Sonia Hood came out and there's been a lot of pressure on her as well and saying, it's time to deliver. And everyone on the field, the most important thing for me is it's not one or two. Like today, it's not an individual brilliance. Chom was brilliant. Dill was brilliant. it wasn't individual brilliance that won us this game. It was exactly what I've been calling for. It was system. It was people knowing their roles and playing their roles. We're a unit. We work so well together. Like, players were down that, you know, like I said, Kirch didn't have his best game today. He can be better next week, but he didn't need to be that guy because, you know, you've got Blamires off the halfback line. You've got, you know, Sheasel doing his own thing. Daniel doing what he did. You've got all these players are playing their role so exceptionally. Logue, as I said, like, made a couple of errors here and there, but the defensive role that he played allowed Chom to come across and do those marking. Pink didn't notice him because every time he defended well.
His player either.
No, didn't notice his player. And, like, the whole unit went, like, individually as a defense, there was good individual moments, but how hard everyone ran back to make sure that we defended well and how hard everyone ran forward to make sure that we moved as a unit with the ball forward is what won us that game. It wasn't an individual, though there were some good performances and very good performances. It was the buy-in, which is something that we, you know, every team tries to put in their game plan. Every team wants their game plan to be the one that's happening. When you're doing it together and working like that and it's your game plan working, you can see it. And that's what today was.
And that's having the ascendancy, right? Like, we were on top most of the game, the vast, vast majority of that game.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially in reflection. Like, in the ground, I was so nervous, mate. But that's because I care, you know. That's
experience and your care.
Yeah. Like, but looking back at it, mate, we dominated that game. We
the best
deserved
team
to win by
by
the amount we did. There's nothing anybody can say from this to demean what we did. I don't care where people think the power are going to be. They had their good players in. You know, they had players who Radagalier and Alir, Bergman are very, very experienced players, very experienced defenders. You know, their midfield with Rosie, Butters, you know, Horn Francis, you know, screw that guy, but they're good players, right? They had those there. Georgiades is up there, and he's such a massive target with Whitlock as a young, exciting forward as well. So I don't know, mate. We just took it from him, and we haven't done that for a long, long time. You know, we absolutely took it from him, and God, I hope we do it next week. I mean, you know, maybe I can get a quick score check here because we're recording 7:15 currently when we're recording this. Oh my God. Gold Coast is 82, West Coast is 16 in the second.
Oh, that checks out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that checks out.
It does. So there's absolutely no excuse why we can't go over to Western Australia, our home too, and do exactly the same thing and put the sword to the Eagles. We go over there and we're winning by 6 goals minimum. That's what we need to do.
They might have a new coach by next week if it keeps on going the way it is.
Well, that's right. Maybe he gets sacked after this game, but I don't know, mate. There's no excuse now. Then with the Bombers coming up, we're a big chance of being 5-1 after 6 weeks after that performance. If we can repeat it,
if we can repeat it,
that's the most important thing.
Yeah, if we play like this next week, there's no reason we don't win that game. Let alone
if we play
win
like
that game
again,
comfortably.
Joel, we win that game. There's no chance we win that game by 6 goals minimum. If we do that next week against the Eagles, there is nothing the Eagles can do to stop that.
I don't disagree with you. I think that's a fairly reasonable thing. And like, come back and versus it, and everyone get to the game and watch that one.
Yeah, I'll be there, mate. I'll be there to see some prime North Ball. We waited 2 years for North Ball, but we're finally here. Look, we're going on a little bit here, but the most important thing now is to replicate it. Fans, enjoy yourselves. Have the best week of your life. Put the game on the TV all the time. You know, talk to all your mates. Tell them, you know what? We're top 4 right now, and we're on 168%. You know, have a ball with this because this is a feeling we haven't got, and we deserve this feeling. We deserve this as fans. We've been sitting there. We've been watching garbage. We deserve this. But then the most important thing is we back it up next week, and we have winnable games. I think this is our hardest game. Bar the Lions game, this is our hardest game in the first 6 weeks to me. Carlton look like a mess. Essendon are always a mess. You know, the Eagles are the biggest mess.
1 week at a time. So next week, West Coast.
Let me have this. Next week. Let me have this, Joel. Let the fans have this. Come on.
West Coast next week. If we go 2-0, it's a great start coming back to versus Essendon.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Sean Atley Club Champ votes. I mean, I know what I'm going to say here. So for me, it's Dill Stevens was best on ground, mate. He was.
Dill or Chom, you could go either way on that one. Like, it's a very tight call.
I'm going to put Chom 2 and I'm going to put Parker 1. And there's so many players here.
So many players
that I could put in. So I'm not like, please don't give me, how do you not have this guy? There's so many players. Yeah, nearly everyone could have had like a vote today, but I've got to be tight. Dill Stevens was best on ground, offensively, defensively, most score involvements, kicked a goal. His disposal efficiency was great. His work rate was unbelievable. Comben, I'm going to give him 2. And then Luke Parker, I want to give him more votes, but he was unbelievable, Luke Parker. 100% disposal efficiency on 24 touches across half back and leading that defense. Oh, man.
Yeah. No, I'll agree with you on you could go either way on Chom and Dill.
I don't disagree.
To be honest, because they were both stellar. They were our 2 best on the field. You could throw a blanket over about 10 guys, honestly. I reckon you could make solid arguments for. Shees was brilliant. LDU, what he did to open the game up was extremely good.
Foss played his role so well.
Oh, Foss, keeping Butters down and getting the disposals he did. But I think, Parker, I'll agree with you on this. Parker playing a different role, marshalling the troops, some really important plays. I'm very comfortable with the 3.
Fantastic. Well, look, let us know down in the comments what you think about those 3. Shees was unbelievable. LD unbelievable. I think Jerry's tackling was unbelievable. There's so much, right? But I think they're the best 3 on the ground. Even though there are some very, very close ones. I kind of want to put Daniel. I kind of want to put Shees in. I kind of want to put LDU in. But look, they're the 3. I'm sticking with it. Is there anything more to talk about from this game? We're just over an hour here, Joel. So this has been a bit shorter than I thought. We've done this in a very tight package. If you're listening, please subscribe if you're not subscribed as well. And like the video. Put all your comments down below. It's a North party for the next week. I'm going to do an episode through the week with your questions in it as well, because we've got home and I'm recording so quick. I forgot to post up, ask your questions for the pod. This might become a regular thing as well. Let's try it out and we'll see how we go. But I'm going to ask for your questions over on socials, on Instagram, at Further North Pod, Further North Podcast on Facebook. They're the 2 places I will ask for your questions. We're going to do a Q&A episode through the middle of the week, answering just fan questions. So follow the socials to get your questions read out on the pod. Anything else, Joel, to touch on? I've got the housekeeping and all the shout outs out of the way.
I think we've done pretty well on it. I think, next week, the most important thing for us is next week, back it up. This is the standard. It was exceptional. I'm extremely happy. Let's back it up. Let's not take step backs. This should be our season, not in terms of wins, but in terms of that level of effort and performance
level we need to be hitting. Yeah.
If we lose against top teams playing like that, I'm still happy that we're playing the right style and we're being aggressive and the players are developing.
Jeez, you're getting me excited, Joel. Flag potentially, but who knows? Let's not talk about September just yet, to be honest.
Joel's first tip is correct so far.
Well, currently, you did say we're going to make finals, even though that might have been a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but that's fine. It's out there in the world. The internet has record of that.
It does have record.
So you're currently correct. And trust me, when you're on the internet and your opinions...
Oh, it sticks forever.
Yes.
People forget immediately, isn't it?
And look, some of the heat that cop through the DMs and sometimes the comments... When Dill Stevens plays that well, when Caleb Daniel plays that well, when the defense held up, I've got to come on here and say, I told you so a little bit. But hey, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I'm not trying to be a douche with that. But no, I'm glad that the things I saw and pointed out throughout the last couple of weeks seem to come on. But like you said, next week is the most important thing, because if we can back that up, geez, we're going to start getting very, very excited. So Joel, thank you for coming back on. It's fun doing this after wins. It's so much better to talk about wins.
What's this feeling?
Yeah.
No, it's very good after wins.
When we're in the stadium, I'm going, are we good? This is all right. Is this what football's like for other fans sometimes? That's unreal.
Gosh, yeah, no, I'm very happy with that. So next week, big one.
You're right. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe, like the video, put your comments down below. Get on those socials to get your questions read out on the pod through the middle of the week. Thank you so much for tuning on. Enjoy this, because we killed the Power today. We absolutely destroyed the Power today. So enjoy the next 7 days, and then we're going to back it up against the Eagles. Thank you for listening, guys. Joel, thank you for coming on. We'll talk to you guys.
Cheers.